Of all the Arab nations that had revolutions in and around this time, why did you choose to write about Egypt?
Well, I had covered most of what was going on in Tunisia, and that ended on the 11th of January. And of course, everybody was saying, well, watch out, 2 weeks later, Egypt has planned something. And the reaction of most of us in the press corps was of, yeah, right, okay. I mean, Egypt never does anything. They basically never show up. They make big plans and nothing ever happens. And indeed, the plans were made. And of course, the 25th is a big police holiday. And the first thing that had to happen was that the police had to have their annual leave canceled, which made them not particularly happy with the protesters to begin with. And then from there, you were in a situation where, gee, what was going to happen? And it seemed like such a huge overreaction. I mean, we were all paying attention on the 25th of January, but not much happened. And we kind of all started looking elsewhere until we realized, wait a minute, the secret police are rounding up people and beating the crap out of them. Why? That became the question. And so we started to pay more attention. And then the day on the bridge, which was the fourth day of the conflict, when the Egyptian police authorities sprayed water cannons on the backs of Muslim men, you know, basically prostrated in prayer on the bridge, that was when it was game on. I mean, it was just, the fury and the rage began, and it became something you could not stop watching. Plus, I wanted to be in a position to make certain that the disinformation machine, which was nowhere near as sophisticated as it is today, was not allowed to spread rumors. And in that period of time, I went from about 2,000 followers on Twitter to about 15,000, which is not a terribly big number compared to some of the numbers you see today. But it was all as a result of the fact of people saying, listen to this guy, he's paying attention. And I was working through all of the reliable sources and getting confirmation before I would post something on Twitter. And it was especially jarring when American pundits would wake up and start throwing rubbish out there to a much larger audience. And you'd have to call them out and say, no, that's not how it went down. Check your facts before you go on to Twitter and stop this. And there were times during this thing where we literally had to protect several members of the media on the ground. I worked with a producer at CNN who was deathly afraid because Anderson Cooper and several of his reporters and crew were pinned down and hiding in an apartment so that they wouldn't be rounded up by the secret police and possibly killed. I mean, it was a very desperate situation. And I can remember, you know, being on the phone with this producer and saying, no, don't send him down that street because we know from reports what we're hearing that there are blockades there, be careful. And so all the media outlets were working together to try and preserve and save people that were there on the ground under the most dire of circumstances.